New parent. Ooh.
Hello and welcome to Cognitions, Speaking the Unspeakable with JP
And Stacy D.
I'm JP Craddock and I am here with the one and only, the lovely, the divine Miss Stacy D.
Hey.
The D just got here, y'all.
So you gonna tell all our business like that, JP?
The D's making a habit out of running late, everybody. I'm just saying. Okay, coming up on the show today, we have the question of the day, which is, what are the symptoms of anxiety disorder and how is it diagnosed? Now, this is an oversight on our part. We have diagnosed everything. How did we miss this?
I don't know. And I'll talk about, hello, okay. And I talk about anxiety all the time because I have anxiety.
I'm so glad you said that because you the guinea pig.
I'm the guinea pig.
For the
I know.
assessment today.
I know.
Actually, what I was going to do is say who in this studio has the most anxiety because they need to be the guinea pig. But I knew it was probably you because Mr. Walker and the professor are a little too chill.
And they halfway retired.
They a little too.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there.
They a little too chill. Okay.
Yeah. Unless we get ready to go, then the professor talks us all the way out to the car.
Aside from that, they too chill. Okay, so the D, look at that look on his face. The D is going to be our guinea pig for those of you who think you may have anxiety. We're going to assess and diagnose it. And so you can go to our Facebook page. There is a diagnostic tracking form, but this is going to be pretty simple. If you want, just have a sheet of paper. We're going to go through it. You write down your numbers, and then I'm going to help you to score it. Okay. So we're going to see what the D's level.
It's pretty high. We already know.
Well, we don't know.
I know.
We're gonna
do
see
exercises.
Okay, so we have that coming up in a little bit on the show. We usually get to the question of the day around the 30-minute mark. Okay, but before we get to that, let's get to our check-in. D, are you hearing? It's like a little echo. Am I echoing?
I think it's just you.
Okay, go ahead, D.
But you have the raggedy ones.
Well,
okay, check in. I just want to give props out to one of our good friends, Terry Mason.
Who set it off.
She set it off this weekend. It was lovely. It was over the top. Met a lot of good people. It was just lovely.
Yes, Spruce is the agency that Terry Mason owns. She owns it with Genuine and Soleil. And they celebrated the anniversary of their opening. I think it was the 15 year anniversary.
Yeah, because you missed the 10 year. You got in trouble for that.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, you missed it.
That's not like me to miss anything.
You did, though. You got in trouble.
I probably was
because your
sick.
only excuse was no, you were tired.
I would never miss something because I'm tired.
You got in trouble because you was on the do not disturb list for a minute.
You have known me for like over 30 years.
Okay. Do we need to call Terry?
No, we don't need to call her. But that doesn't even sound like me to miss something.
Because me and N-Guy was there.
That is not like me to miss something because I'm tired. I show up tired. I've been tired since 1987, since I moved out of my mama's house. I couldn't have missed something because I was tired.
You said you were tired.
The kind of tired like celebrities when they be fatigued and they end up in the hospital. I might have been in the psych ward.
So now you saying you a celebrity?
I might have been. I'm saying I was in the psych ward. I might have been hospitalized. It was fatigue.
Okay. But you did miss it and you were in like major trouble.
That's a lame reason to miss something.
You did.
For those listeners out there who know me, y'all know I don't miss nothing important. And I've been tired since 1987, since I moved out of my mama's house.
I know, right? It makes you really worried. And then we're going to do a birthday shout, but everybody don't get upset if we don't do you a shout out. And the only reason why she getting a shout out is because it popped up on my timeline. Our girl, Kelly Ruff. And you
was
better
her
be looking
birthday
at us, too.
yesterday. Yes. Happy
Are you
birthday
watching?
to my girl. This was the best lady in my wedding because I had a best lady,
With her crazy butt.
two best men, and 10 groomsmen. This was my best lady in my wedding. Yes, that's my girl, and we are
Big
like,
wheels and rocking chairs.
yes, this is a old heifer now.
Is this your old heifer?
I need to tell you about her birthday celebration. It's this Saturday.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get a text.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it while we here right now. And actually, so Kelly's birthday was yesterday, and then my nephew's birthday is today. So to Day,
Day.
because I will call somebody by their kid nickname.
Exactly. Day. That's where I know you from.
Day, who now he's David.
David. But you used to
'Cause
be Day.
He's a therapist in private practice.
Yes, very, very, very much.
Yes, who specializes in PTSD. He has a full practice doing evidence-based practices because, that's how we do it for PTSD. So I ain't saying happy birthday to grown
David.
private practitioner David. I'm talking to Day.
Day.
I'm talking to Buddha Day. Daddy,
Day.
happy birthday. He's old.
Yeah, he can know.
41 years old. When you got
He
a
on the
41-year-old nephew, either your sister was making babies early or you old. In this case, it's both. I'm
And maybe
old 'cause
you was
he's
that
old.
oops baby. You was that oops baby. Oops.
That heifer. Okay, I'm not on. I love my sister. That's all I'm gonna
Yes,
say.
he does.
Okay. So D, what's your check-in?
That was it.
Really? Okay, I gotta check in. This check-in, I had a incident with a friend. So
He's
I
always
kind of
having incidents with friends, isn't he?
I don't think I usually have incidents with friends. Hold up.
Oh,
First
yes, you do. The baby
because of stuff on the radio. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen.
That's when it's coming to the radio.
This is so.
Well, thank you for supporting us.
Listen, I need for my friends to stop listening to the show because
No, we need
I
that.
never had issues with my friends. I'm talking 20 years would go by, no issues with my friends until we started doing the radio show because
Kelly Ruff told us don't talk about her anymore.
we can't even. She might be mad that we told her happy birthday.
Exactly.
Don't mention me on that show. What? Dang heifer. Okay, so
Gosh, she gonna
somebody
be on
need to get
on
a
Saturday.
Somebody need to get a hold of Kelly and tell her to listen to the show today.
Listen to the show.
Cause we talked about you on the show because it was your birthday.
It's
so
your birthday,
like,
chick.
shut up and suck
You
it
the
up.
birthday chick. You the birthday chick.
But since we started the show, yes, I have had some issues with friends because I will say
more than
something
one.
that is the honest to God's truth. I admit that sometimes I probably keep it a little too real. And so, but I've gotten better. I think I've gotten better. And here's my point. Even when friends have gotten upset over something that I said on the radio, we get over it. You know, like the babysitting thing. I just called that. I said, Heifer, look, you still pissed? Because get over it.
Get over it.
Because I'm over it. And so we're over it. And we was over it. Because when you've been friends with somebody
For so long.
for like 3 decades.
Wait a minute. Y'all not even friends. Y'all like brothers and sisters because the kids call them auntie and uncle.
Yes,
So
I'm
y'all
Uncle
brothers
Gerald.
and
She's
sisters,
Aunt.
yeah.
Yes.
Y'all
And
brothers and sisters.
Here's my message to those in our age group who have lifelong friends, because sometimes we have to give our friendships a little bit of a tune-up, and so that's what I'm offering today. My message today is if you have been friends with somebody for 2 or 3 decades, the weight of that friendship is supposed to far outweigh, think about it like a scale, it's supposed to far outweigh any little conflicts that y'all get over.
Little conflicts. Not messing with my husband
But the
or
20
your brother.
the 20 and 30 year friendships, they don't tend to do those
No.
kind of things. They don't betray
Shouldn't.
each other. If you've been friends with a fool for 20 or 30 years, they're not going to betray you by screwing your
Nothing like
husband or
that.
your wife. So the
Shouldn't.
shouldn't. I really haven't heard of old friendships having those kind of problems. They have regular conflicts. And so when you have a regular conflict, what you are supposed to do is think about, I've been friends with this person for 3 decades. So let me keep that in perspective, because the 3 decades of friendship is supposed to far outweigh the stupid conflict. Well, one of my friends obviously does not know that lesson, because the fool got mad.
Come on, we're taking you to school right now.
The fool got mad at me.
When?
Over something that I really didn't think it was that serious. I don't want to give the specifics, but we talked about it at Terry's event and made a comment that he was so upset that it was going to affect the friendship. And I was like, how's it going to affect the friendship? The friendship's going to be fine. Like, it's going to affect the brotherhood, actually, was what was said, okay? Because it's one of my frat brothers. And I was like, how can a conflict over something that's really not that big of a deal, how's it going to affect so I blew it off like, whatever, you tripping. So I called him, though, because I was like, I didn't like that comment, so I'm going to call him directly, because, we was doing this group texting thing, so, I'm direct. I'm like, I'm going to call this fool and say I didn't appreciate that comment. I left a message. He never returned my call. We have not spoken since.
In a week?
We ain't spoke since. Yeah. And so apparently, the conflict did affect the brotherhood. 30 years
plus years.
Actually plus longer than 30 years. And so it leaves me feeling almost, it's like a betrayal.
Empty.
In a way. Like, how you gonna be so caught up in your feelings?
Have
it's
you
like
ever had a conflict before?
We used to fight all the time in school. But we haven't had a disagreement since graduating from college. And so I'm thinking he has forgotten how to have a disagreement. And here's a lesson. When you have a disagreement with your friend or your family member, okay, and you react by either exploding, there's 3 types of communication problems, and we need to do a whole show on this.
Oh, we do.
There is miscommunication, misunderstanding each other. There is lack of communication, one person shutting down like he has done. And then there's toxic communication, which is a person cussing and going off and acting a fool, and he did a little bit of that too. It wasn't directed at me, it was directed at another friend of mine, and I didn't appreciate that. And so
that's what they got mad about.
Don't give the specifics.
I'm
but
not.
What you mean?
Took someone else's side and not the brotherhood.
Because I'm always on the side of what's right.
What's right. But some people think the sisterhood and the brotherhood outweighs everything
I don't play
else.
that mess. I don't play that mess.
Don't either.
And my friends know me well enough to know I'm on the side of what's right. I don't care if you my brother, you my sister. If you on the side of what's wrong, I'm going to
speak it.
I'm going to speak on that. And so for you to get mad and shut down and it's affecting the brotherhood and you ain't talking to me no more, that sends the message to your friend that in order for us to be friends, you have to agree with me all the time.
You got to be a yes ma'am.
And you are not to open your mouth and voice disagreement.
That's not a healthy relationship.
How the hell is that friendship? That's not even friendship. So this is a punishment for speaking up on the side of what I felt was right. So that's my point, is for those of you who have lifelong friendships, one, always keep your conflicts in perspective. No conflict that you are having is supposed to outweigh 20, 30 years of friendship. And when you have a conflict and you remember that it's falling under these 3 types of communication problems.
Can you say those again for us, JP?
Miscommunication, lack of communication, and toxic communication. And you definitely should not be getting toxic, cussing each other out. You've been friends for
If
20,
you've
30
been friends
years.
for so long, exactly.
Right. And so when you shut down on a person and decide that you ain't going to talk to them, it's passive aggression, like you punishing somebody for speaking their mind, and that's a problem. So that's my check-in for today.
We have discussed this before. This was earlier in our shows.
Then why am I having to cover this again? Obviously, he missed that episode.
What is the common denominator?
What do you mean, D?
What?
How am I I do not typically have conflicts with my friends. I don't. But
You and I have never had a conflict.
you got mad at me once. I just was like, D, get over it.
What I get mad about?
See? You got over it.
I know,
I'm
but
not
everybody
reminding
sounded got sensitive since I hit the 5th floor. They said I'm
you
going
were
through
being
the,
hypersensitive.
Yeah, everybody's saying that about
And you
me now.
thought you was going to talk crazy, but I was like, I ain't talking to you no more
I
about
thought I was going to talk crazy.
I was not. You got mad. I said something that was the honest to God's truth. I kept it too real for the D. And you got mad, and I was like, get over it. And I just carried on like
Because we're literally like
nothing
40
happened.
years in. Almost
Yes,
40 years.
and so I wasn't paying attention to you tripping. I was like, okay.
Was it since I've been 50? In the 50s?
It was last year.
Oh, everybody say I'm sensitive. I'm hot and cold. They say I'm going through the change.
You are
We're gonna
pretty
blame
sensitive.
it on the change.
I think it's a positive thing that you are more sensitive. than
Really?
me.
I hate it.
It's sweet though. You
Oh
have
my
a
God! Like
you have
okay.
a sweetness.
So I talked to my dad.
What
If I
your
don't
daddy
talk
say?
to him on Saturday, I talk to him on Sundays. So this Sunday I called and he didn't answer my call, and he didn't call me Monday. He didn't call me Tuesday.
Oh, I know you. Your sensitivities
So
came
then I
out.
called Wednesday, and I left him a message talking. This is me. And I
Oh,
just hung
Lord.
up because by that time I'm like in full-fledged tears.
Oh Lord, the D.
So, and Daddy called me last night. And I was like, I've been trying to call you for 4 days. You know, we talk every Sunday. And he said that when he's with his wife, he don't take his phone. And he was meaning, he's 75
that's
years
nice.
old. And he says that he just been meaning to call me. And my daddy forgot about me.
No, that's not
Yeah.
what he was saying.
Yes, that's what I got out of it. So then I start crying.
Oh,
So my
Lord.
daddy's coming in 2 weeks to see me.
He had to travel to
From
calm
Mississippi.
you down.
He said he'd be here in 2 weeks.
That's a good idea, though.
He said evidently I need my daddy.
Yeah,
So he'll be here in 2 weeks.
that's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have become more sensitive?
I know,
Because
and I
when
hate
you got
it.
upset with me, I was like, why is she upset over that? It's why?
I'm trying not to go off on old women. They look like George Jefferson's mama.
Okay, let's get to. We're not about to talk about that. Oh my God.
Mrs. Jefferson?
We see you gonna end up having a problem with a friend
No, I'm not.
if she's watching the show.
Sorry.
Mental health and illness in the
In the
news.
news.
Yeah, we're gonna move past that quick. Okay, a woman in Oklahoma left her children in a hot car for 40 minutes while she was shopping in
seen
Walmart. I ain't even gonna say nothing about the whole
Nobody
Walmart
can
piece.
never, ever run in and run out of the mark.
That's true. She was in there for 40 minutes. Okay. It was nearly 100 degrees that day. And her defense to the police, because when she came out to her car, the popo was there.
That was
her,
good.
Yes. Her defense to the police was that she had cracked the window. A passerby had to break into the car through her sunroof to rescue her children, who were lethargic but still alive. Thank God. She's been charged with child neglect.
Oh,
Here's the reason why I'm covering this story. If you walk by a car and there's kids in the car,
Or pets.
I don't care how expensive that car is, you get those kids out of that car by any means necessary.
And then call the popo.
Let me tell every idiot parent out there, if I walk past your car, you can be driving, it can be a big old 7 Series BMW. I'm probably going to bust out all your windows to get the kid. You really only need to break one window. But I'm going to be so pissed. I'm busting out at least two, 3 windows to get your kids out that car. But and I just want people to remember, because a car with the window cracked, I'm sure some other people passed by and saw the kids. They was like, well, the window's cracked. Maybe the kids can breathe. But the fact that
it was where?
Oklahoma.
It gets hot in Oklahoma.
It was almost 100 degrees. And here's what my thoughts were. If he had to break in through her sunroof to get to her kids, that means that the window wasn't cracked enough. Because if the window would have been cracked enough, it should have been rolled all the way down. He would have been able to just reach inside and unlock the door. And so the kids, I don't know the ages of the kids, but they were obviously at such a young age that she couldn't leave the windows rolled all the way down. He couldn't get into them. That's
crazy. Just didn't leave the car running. I mean, I can leave this is a blind moment. Sometimes I just accidentally leave my car running.
Well, because it runs so quiet, you can't hear it.
Right.
And so you might jump out the car and
I'll figure it out, because when my alarm goes beep, 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 that means it's still running.
Right.
But I used to be like, what the hell? Why is it beeping like that?
Yeah. You're not the only one.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because I think the other day I got out the car. I didn't get all the way out, but I hadn't turned the car off, because you can't hear the cars.
You can't hear the cars now.
This ain't back in the 80s when I didn't have no muffler and you heard me from 3 blocks away.
I know. Boy, don't bring back them 80 cars. I had a 2-door and only 1 door worked.
I had a Chevy Citation, and if I drove too fast on the freeway, the hood would fly up and smack against the windshield.
Mine did. I had to go to the junkyard and get another hood.
That car had dents all over. There was no part of that car that was not dented
You
up.
could start my car without a key.
You could hear, but in modern
from
times,
A to B, though.
in modern times, and that's all that mattered back then. But nowadays we got quiet cars.
I know. Wait a minute, I had one car that didn't have any reverse.
Ooh,
so me and my friend,
happen?
we would have to okay, start doing it, start rocking it, put your leg out. Okay, it's going.
No, you are making this up. Y'all Flintstone the car. Y'all Flintstone the car. That is hilarious.
It didn't have any reverse. Mr. Walker understood that. He dealt with that no reverse too.
I've never heard of that.
Had to park on the hill, right?
Shut up.
Or someplace where you can just drive on through.
Y'all have got to be making this up.
No.
That is so crazy. But you know what? That does remind me. I did have an old Cadillac. It was a 79 Cadillac.
Was it a Fleetwood?
I was so broke, I could not afford transmission fluid. And you're right. The reverse went out.
This is the first thing to go out.
And my sister had driven it to work. She worked at a hospital. She called me and she was like, your car won't go in reverse. I'd only paid $500 for the car. I was like, well, leave it there. Because I was like, I didn't have the money for the transmission fluid. And so my sister fussed at me. She was like,
that's when it was like $1.
She was like, why didn't you just ask me for some money for transmission fluid? Are you serious? Because that sucker purred. Let me tell y'all something about a caddy. Old caddy.
I rose caddies.
It rolled so smooth and it purred. Oh, that old caddy. It was rusted out. But that old caddy, but let me tell you, we left it there.
You just left it there?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't go in reverse. I didn't know what to do.
Still went frontwards.
If I didn't...
You should have called me. I would have told you what to do. You just got to rock it.
I didn't know what to do. Oh my God. Okay. So we have time, because it's almost 2:30. We have time for one more mental health and illness story in the news. Last week, we covered a human interest story that took place at a kid's Little League baseball game where this little leaguer, Isaiah Jarvis, if y'all recall, he got hit in the head with a ball by the pitcher, and the pitcher felt so bad. The pitcher was crying. And so when little Isaiah came to, he wasn't unconscious. I'm just kidding. but little Isaiah left first base to go out to the pitcher's mound, and he hugged this kid and told him, "It's okay. I'm okay. You're doing a good job." Just a week ago, we covered that story at a Little League baseball game. This week, I have to cover a murder at a Little League's football game.
Oh, I thought you was going to talk about the basketball game, the basketball tournament at Staley.
No.
When they beat up the referee.
No, this is murder. In Lancaster, Texas.
I know exactly where that is.
Some adults got into it over a game call, okay? And Yaqub Talib, 39 years old, shot a man. You could hear like 5 shots ring out. They were all out there
and this
on
was
the field,
a kids game.
a kids football game.
So what are we teaching our children?
Right.
We are their first teachers.
Why are you packing heat at a little kid's game anyway? What could possibly happen that you need to be packing heat?
He didn't like the call from the referee.
He didn't like the call. And so he eventually turned himself in, claiming that he needed to tell his side of the story.
There's no side.
He killed Michael Hickman, a 43-year-old, in front of his children.
Trauma with the kids now.
5 shots rang out. The victim leaves behind a wife, 3 children, and 3 grandchildren.
That's terrible.
That just goes to show the stark contrast from one week to another. Last week we was all warm and fuzzy, feeling all good because the babies were a model example of humanity.
Yes.
And this week we got to talk about adults acting a fool and killing at a Little League football game. All full. Okay, I'm gonna cover one more, and then we're gonna get to the question of the day. A dog contracted monkeypox. Okay.
Ooh.
After sleeping in bed with its owners.
Ooh.
This occurred in France. The 2 men tested positive for monkeypox. And the dog somehow ended up with the monkeypox. Now, this is why I'm covering this, because the vaccine is available to people based upon their sexual activity.
Okay, question. Is it a vaccine or is it a shot?
I got this from Headline News. They said vaccine.
Okay, because sometimes, COVID is not a vaccination. It's a shot because you can still catch COVID. Vaccinations
Isn't it still considered a vaccine, though?
It shouldn't be, because vaccinations are you don't catch
It's a shot. It's in shot form, but it's still a vaccine, D.
No.
It just isn't totally effective.
Exactly. So it's not a vaccine. It's a shot.
But I don't think any vaccines are totally effective, are they?
Yeah.
No vaccine.
When we was little and we used to get the mumps, measles, rubella, we didn't catch that stuff.
Okay.
The polio shot, when they had the polio, we didn't catch none of that. That was obsolete. And the problem now is that so many parents is not letting their children get those vaccinations now.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
well, let's
another
talk about
show.
this monkeypox thing. The vaccine, D, they call it the vaccine, is in short supply. And so the only people who can get it are people who meet this criteria in some states, meet this criteria, multiple sex partners within the past 2 weeks. If you have not screwed a lot of people in the past 2 weeks, okay, it can't be stretched out over your whole life. So those of you who have had sex with 29, 30, 40 people over the past couple of years, we're not talking about you. You people are professionals who probably make money for your sex. We talk about people who are just like regular screwing a bunch of people in the past 2 weeks, multiple partners. But here's the thing. We talked about this last week, that monkeypox is not exclusively a sexually transmitted disease, and people are being overly, I don't know, getting too comfortable and feeling too safe, like, well, that's a STD and I ain't been having sex with a bunch of people. That's not true. The dog was just laying there. And what we talked about last week on the show is that if you sit in a chair that someone with monkeypox has sat in, you can get monkeypox.
You can catch it.
Okay. And so this poor
Clorox
dog
wipes?
get what?
We didn't wipe down our chairs.
They're cloth. I think we're good.
What about this part?
Well, we just got monkeypox from that.
They was in the bed on sheets.
Right.
That's
Well,
close.
I mean, we just got monkeypox in the station because Mr. Walker ain't wiped down the arms of these chairs that are leather. Okay, so if your dog can get monkeypox from just laying on the same sheets, people, please be careful about this monkeypox things. Like it's a situation. All right. Question of the day: what is anxiety disorder and how is it diagnosed? Now, this is what we're gonna do, because we don't play up in here. Okay. I am going to do a brief assessment called the GAD-7, okay?
Say it again, please.
The GAD-7. GAD stands for Generalized Anxiety Disorder. And this is an evidence-based assessment. Evidence-based practices are therapies and assessments that have been tested, and proven to be reliable across multiple studies, okay? So we're going to do this GAD-7 because it's only 7 questions. It's short, it's brief, okay? Now, so for those of you out there who think that you might have a little bit of anxiety, you've been stressed out, you like, I might have anxiety disorder, just write down your numbers as I go through this, and then we're going to help you score it and then tell you your level of anxiety. For those of you who score high enough, because a lot of therapists just use this to diagnose, I like to be a little more thorough. And so I use this as a pre-screen. And so if a person meets the criteria with this, then I go ahead and do the full assessment. Now, the D is our guinea pig because she thinks she's stressed out. She thinks she has a little bit of anxiety. Okay. Last time she thought she had ADHD, she was absolutely correct. So she's most likely correct because she know her. Okay.
I know me.
But let's roll through it. And D, are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's go. And we got the DSM here because
Our
we don't
Bible.
play around. We do not play around. We officially diagnose things from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual Mental Disorders up in here, okay? This ain't get on Google and see what Junebug and Cletus put on there and then you diagnosing yourself. We don't do it like that, okay? And I told y'all, stop diagnosing yourselves from the internet. Stop it. All right, D, are you ready?
I'm the only one to diagnose myself and then tell my doctor.
Well, you have a MSW,
Yeah,
so
I can
you
tell.
can diagnose yourself if you want to, okay? All right, question number 1. Feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge? Not at all. Several days. And these questions are over the
Tell me what
past
the 0,
couple of
1,
weeks.
2,
Okay. Yeah. And so 0 is not at all. 1, several days. 2, more than half the days over past 2-week period. Or 3, nearly every day.
3.
D, what's your number? 3? Okay. Number 2, not being able to sleep or control worrying.
3.
Not at all is 0. Several days 1. More than half the days is 2, and nearly every day is 3. So if you all are feeling it like the D, put 3. Okay. Number 3, worrying too much about different things. 0, not at all. 1, several days. 2, more than half the days. 3, nearly every day.
Let's do a 2.
Worrying too much about different things.
2.
You give that a 2. Okay. Trouble relaxing. 0, 1, 2, or 3.
3.
3, nearly every day.
Yeah, nearly every day.
Okay. Number 5, being so restless that it is hard to sit still. 0, not at all.
Now that goes with the ADHD though.
True. I'm so glad you said that. People with ADHD, when they are assessed
Because
for
y'all know
anxiety,
I'm doing my feet right now.
they end up answering this. And so it makes it hard because that symptom applies to both. And so, yeah, that makes it hard. But just try to separate out restlessness from anxiety, from your regular hyperactivity if you also have ADHD. Because this is a restlessness from being stressed out.
And
so
that's a 3.
That's a 3 nearly every day. And remember, you all, 0 is not at all. 1 is several days. 2 is more than half of the days. And then 3, as the D said, is nearly every day.
Nearly
Okay,
every day.
number 6, becoming easily annoyed or irritable. 0, not at all. 1, several days out of the 2 weeks. 2, more than half the days. Or 3, nearly every day. Easily
Almost
annoyed.
every day.
Nearly every day.
Yeah.
You irritated nearly every day. D.
I work with people.
Yeah, 3. Okay. And number 7, feel it afraid as if something awful might happen. 0, not at all. 1, several
No.
days. 2,
0.
0 for you. For the rest of you, 2, more than half the days. And 3 is nearly every day. Okay, so here's what you do. Add up your numbers, okay? Now, the assessment on our page, it's in columns where you go through and you add it up. And so for the D, we got a 0. So, we have 1, 2, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3s, which is a 15. 15 plus 2 equals 17. Here is the results. Here's the scale. Okay. If you scored a 0 to 4, that is minimal anxiety, which does not meet the criteria for the diagnosis. A score of 5 to 9 is mild anxiety. A score of 10 to 14 is moderate anxiety. And a score of 15 to 21 is severe anxiety. The D.
Have severe anxiety. I know.
She actually is correct. She has anxiety. Okay. And so we need to be doubly sure. Okay. Because even though that's an evidence-based assessment, that don't mean that JP is totally satisfied.
JP's not satisfied.
I got to take it to the next level. We
Next level.
We got to do the full assessment to be sure. Okay. So here's the full. Okay.
Mind you, we're still assessing the D.
We're still. And actually, for those of you, if you scored in that range with the D, you really don't need to do any more. You don't need to assess any further. Okay, but for those of you, if you scored a 5 or above, please follow along with me because we're going to make doubly sure. For those of you who scored 0 to 4, go grab a snack, sit down and chill, and let's see where the D comes out. Okay, so excessive anxiety and worry, apprehensive expectation occurring more days than not for at least 6 months. So now we're about to go back over the past 6 months, okay? About a number of events. This can be stress about work, about school performance, about relationships, whatever the case may be, okay? Now, I haven't got to the questions yet. The individual finds it difficult to control the worry. D, do you find it difficult to control the worrying?
Because of what I am, I do exercises.
You're doing a behavioral intervention. We're not covering that today. We're going to
Listen,
cover.
y'all tell me not going. Okay.
No,
So
because
I do control it.
next week we're going to talk about managing the anxiety. For those of you who
Managing
scored in the range of having generalized anxiety disorder, having anxiety, we're going to work on how to manage it, which is going to be cognitive and behavioral interventions. The D, she's ready to go there today, but we're not going there today. We're going to go there next week. Okay.
Next week.
The anxiety and worry is associated. Now we're going to get down to the diagnostic criteria. Everybody, please pay attention. You have to have at least 3 or more of these symptoms that I'm about to go down the list for, with at least some of the symptoms being present for more days than not over the past 6 months.
6 months.
So think about 6 months back. over the course of a
August,
week,
so
you would need to
February.
experience these symptoms more days than the amount of days that you are chilled
4
out
days
and
a week.
relaxed and not.
At least 4 days a week.
Yeah, at least 4 days a week. Okay. So at least 3 of these, we're going to see how many the D has. Okay. Because the D might land just at 1 or 2. And then we're going to have to be like questioning the evidence-based assessment because it was incorrect. Y'all know that's not going to happen, but let's see what happens. Okay. D, are you ready?
I'm ready. I stay ready.
She always says that. Okay. Now, for children, for those of you diagnosing your children, they only have to have 1 of these symptoms. They do not have to have 3 of these 6. Okay. Number 1, restless or feeling keyed up or on edge. The D got that. Okay. Number 2, being easily fatigued. Like you end up feeling tired.
But
And
then
you're like,
really
I really
not
haven't
tired.
done that much. Why am I so tired?
But you can't go to sleep.
Yeah, not sleeping. We ain't got to that part yet. This is just feeling fatigued. You say yes to that one? Okay. Number 3, difficulty concentrating or mind going blank. Now, here's the problem, because the D also has ADHD. And so ADHD, struggling to concentrate, is a primary symptom in
That's
ADHD.
our main thing.
But for those of you who also have ADHD, try to separate the two by thinking about having trouble concentrating in relation to your stress and anxiety, where you're just stressed out and keyed up and you just have so much on your mind.
You don't even know where to
and
start.
that's why you're having trouble concentrating. Yes or no on this one, D?
Yes.
Okay.
Irritability.
You already said yes to that on the other one.
Every day. I wake up like that.
Irritated. D, I'm struggling to believe this one though, because you really be sweet, D. I'm mad. You be irritated.
Boy,
Okay.
you don't know. As soon as I get out the car, I touch the car and leave it in the car and I come on in.
Oh, that's good. See, the D. Self-management of the symptom of irritability.
That's next week.
Okay. Number 5, muscle tension, because you can carry stress
all up in my neck and my
yes
shoulders.
in your body. Because for me, it's always in
That's
the back,
what mine is.
in the back of my neck right here. And Nadine
My
has to give me
shoulders,
massage.
so-
I can tell when I'm really, really stressed out. My neck starts
Sometimes
hurting.
it gets right here in my back.
Oh, really?
Yep,
See, for
and
me,
then
it just stay right here.
Yeah, then
Make you
sometimes I
start
have problems with
crying.
laying on my left side. I asked the doctor, "Do I need a hip replacement?" He told me to get up out of his office.
Right, because you always trying to get something done. You ain't nothing wrong with you.
But when
It's
I lay
stress.
on when I lay on this side, it just hurts so bad. He said, "Well, lay on the other side."
That's my kind of doctor. I like a doctor who's not just trying to make money.
Yeah, he's not like that.
He's like, no, I'm not doing a procedure on you for that. You can carry stress, anxiety in your body. So please remember that. And when we talk about the behavioral interventions next week, this is a very important one. Okay. The last one, D's already beyond 3, by the way. In fact, she said yes to all of these. But here's the last one, number 6.
No.
You know you have sleep disturbance.
Yes.
Difficulty falling or staying asleep, or restless, unsatisfying sleep.
Yeah, the Z-Quill don't even work.
Yes, let me put you down for this.
Or the
one.
melatonin no more.
That stuff is so potent. It make me sleep for 3
It
days
don't do anything
straight.
for me nothing now.
Let me explain the sleep disturbance. Let me break it down a little bit better than what the DSM has done. There's 3 types of insomnia. We covered this when we covered depression, but I'm going to cover it again for those of you who missed it or do not remember. One is initial stage insomnia, having trouble falling asleep at night. 2 is middle stage insomnia, waking up in the middle of the night and having trouble going back to sleep.
Go back to sleep.
And 3 is waking up really, really early in the morning and having trouble going back to sleep. Okay. So, D, you experience trouble falling asleep at night.
Well, no. Now that it got different now. I
Really?
blame it on the
You
let's
be-
say I'm going through the change.
You be up
So,
all hours of the night.
Yeah, I might go to bed like at 8 p.m.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all depends
wow.
on all depends on if I'm at home. Then I wake up at 10 p.m.
Oh, Lord.
and then I'm up to 6 a.m. and then I get so sleepy.
Wow.
But 6 a.m. there's no time for sleep because I have to hit it.
You met this criteria.
Yeah. And our
person-
friends, I don't text my friends, I call my friends anymore because everyone don't like me when I start calling and texting things because I don't remember things and everybody else is asleep. Well, you guys should turn off your phones then.
It'll never bother me.
I know, because you be up right along with
I'll
me.
be sending the text.
You and Sasha.
I will text you at 3 o'clock in the morning. The only person I
And
don't
what?
is Terry,
Terry.
because she will literally wake
Cuss you
up.
out.
Yes,
And then she can't go back to sleep.
Yeah. But most of my friends, they don't have their phone on, so they just get the text in the morning.
Except for me.
The
Because
DB
I
up.
text back. I text
The DB
back.
up. You and Lil John,
Me and Lil John.
y'all be up. Okay.
Johnny, be quick.
Johnny Quick. Okay, so if you had at least 3 of those symptoms, okay, you
Yeah, I
have met
know.
the criteria, but there's a little bit more to be sure.
There's more.
The anxiety, worry, or physical symptoms cause clinically significant distress. I'm going to explain what that means. Or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. What this means is, in order to be diagnosed with something, you not only have to have the symptoms of that, but you also, it has to be negatively affecting your life. You can't just have the symptoms, but because if it's not affecting you, there's no need to diagnose you. This is how we prevent ourselves from overly diagnosing people with things that they're like, it's not affecting me. So if this is not affecting you socially, occupationally, or in other areas of functioning and not causing clinically significant distress, which means it's bothering you. If it's not bothering you at all and you are shocked right now that you met the criteria for this, you wouldn't be diagnosed with it. For those of you who are like, I knew all that. I've been feeling all of that. I knew. Then yes, you meet the criteria. The next one is the disturbance is not attributed to the physiological effects of a substance. Meaning, if you are experiencing these symptoms because you high as a kite, that doesn't count. Okay? Get off drugs.
Totally different.
The next one
But
is...
a lot of people be self-medicating though. And the drug will
True.
flip on them
True.
because they're
true.
chemically unbalanced.
Yeah, self-medicating, using drugs to alleviate these symptoms. But in that case, the symptoms came first, so you meet the criteria.
Meet the criteria.
For those of you who had no symptoms of anxiety,
But then you start
until-
taking that edible or whatever it's
the
called,
edibles.
the edible, and
Yeah.
now you want to jump off the wall and you can't stop. It was the drugs.
Exactly. And I'm glad you mentioned edibles, because with marijuana for a lot of people can have a symptom of paranoia.
That's right.
They get high and they get real dang
Ooh-wee.
paranoid. They get paranoid. They be paranoid. And it's from the weed. And
You're
because
taking a trip.
marijuana is not only classified as a depressant, depressing the central nervous system, but it's also classified as a hallucinogen because that paranoia is a symptom of psychosis. But psychosis and anxiety and agitation run together hand in hand. And so, as the D was saying, and as I'm saying, if you only have anxiety symptoms because of a drug of some sort, you just need to quit getting high. You don't have
Put them down.
anxiety disorder. Okay, and the last one is the disturbance is not better explained by another mental disorder, meaning if, there are other diagnoses that have anxiety as a symptom of that diagnosis. In that case, you go with that diagnosis, okay? And so, for example, if a person has PTSD, PTSD is going to include
Yeah.
these symptoms.
Most definitely.
And so there's no need to diagnose a person with both PTSD and
And
generalized
anxiety.
anxiety disorder because it started with the PTSD. See, that came first. And so I think, whoa, we covered this well.
Yes,
D.
we did.
And hopefully everyone was able to follow along. If you all have any questions, you can send us your questions through our Facebook page. But we just did basically 2 assessments for anxiety.
And guess what? The D have it. But I manages it without medication.
She manages it without medication. Now, and you probably do better managing that without meds than your ADHD because you self-manage your ADHD too. And I'm not totally sure you do as great a job. I'm not sure that your version of self-management counts as effective self-management.
Well, you know, we got Mr. Walker and the professor all in the background talking.
On their phone.
On their phones, it just gets me. My mind just go over there. It sounds like we're in
They're
a
back there.
in a quiet studio.
They're back there eating,
I
talking, shooting the breeze, like
Phones ringing. I mean, and
we
I just
missing
takes me.
comments. We always miss the comments. Mr. Walker, there are comments today because we
Are there
missed
any comments?
we missed everybody's comments.
Oh, but I
last
do
week.
want to say that on our Facebook page, someone was at the fundraiser on Saturday, and she said she was glad to meet the celebrities.
Oh, that was sweet.
Yes.
Oh, that was sweet. Yeah, we do. If we miss your comments during the show, we do go back and check the comments because Asara was commenting last week saying, "Hey, I'm here," and we didn't acknowledge the comment. We didn't acknowledge none of the comments last week.
But,
I think Mr. Walker said there weren't
Our
comments. That's why.
engineer said,
Oh, you did?
I said y'all had a lot of comments on last week's show because there was a few comments.
what was last week's show about?
Last week we covered the treatment for cheating.
Oh, the cheating treatment.
Because
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we covered the 6 types of cheating and cheaters. And then last week, we covered how do you treat this? Like, there's therapy for cheating. And so, yeah, if we miss your comment, we will, we'll get to it when we go over the comments. Because I always watch the show afterwards to see what went right, what went wrong, what kind of technical difficulties did we have. Hey, what about our prime time?
Hey, Miss Walker.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, our show will be re-airing
Aaron.
during prime time, Thursdays at 7.
Prime time.
It didn't air last week, though, Mr. Walker.
We hadn't said it was going to air last week. We didn't don't start that.
Well, this week we will be on again at 7 p.m. So please
Yes.
come in and join us.
Yes, and what I will most likely do is be watching it, and so if you comment during that time, I'm gonna just immediately respond to the comment.
Can we get monkey pops from these headphones? These
Okay, you know what we need to cover? A friend of mine, actually we can. You can get monkeypox from anything.
Yes.
And we're going to cover, because I do have an article that covers, I think, the 6 ways that you can contract monkeypox, because everybody's focusing on only one way that involves your genitals. You can catch monkeypox without pulling out your genitals and putting them somewhere. And we do need to cover that.
We really do.
Yeah, we need to cover that. And there was something else that we needed to cover that we never got around to.
Herpes.
Herpes. We have to cover herpes.
Have to cover herpes.
It is a new epidemic on the whole herpes front. We're going to cover herpes. And I'm kind of wanting us to come up with something. A lot of my herpes clients are isolated. they are struggling to connect and they kind of need support. I'm thinking about doing a
Herpes support group.
herpes, a STD support group, mainly focusing on those STDs that are incurable. And so, what do you think, D?
I
Should
think that'd
do
be
that?
good. I think you should do that.
Because they need support. I'm not going to call it that, though. I'm going to put it under the category of like, because I'm also about to restart some anxiety and depression groups. I'm just going to put it under the umbrella of that because I want it to be really private. But when people call, I'm going to let them know this particular anxiety and depression group is actually a specialized group for STDs because they need more support.
They do. They really do.
And so I'm going to be, working on that this year also. That is our show for today. Thank you all for joining us. And remember, worry about nothing.
So you don't have anxiety. and pray about everything. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, and God bless.